The winter meetings are upon us, and apparently the Chicago Cubs got some big moves planned. Let's talk about it right after this. What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. I'm your host, Mike Jones. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode. Listen, guys, I need you to do me a favor. You have a big week ahead of us this week. It is the winter meetings week. Everybody is showing up in Orlando. There's going to be news flying off the walls every single day. And whatever happens with your Chicago Cubs, you can bet your bottom dollar your boy is going to be here to break it all down. Now, listen, we're going to do nightly episodes each night talking about the deals that have been done, have been completed, especially any Chicago Cubs deals that have been done and have been completed. Especially if there are pieces that we have on the board that the Chicago Cubs could potentially want. So that's how we're going to do this week. So do not miss a single episode this week. The Chicago Cubs are apparently in the running for a bunch of different names, and I can't wait to tell you guys about some of these big, huge acquisitions that the Chicago Cubs are talking about, who they're in on, who we're hearing rumors about. Some of them I'm sure you've already heard, and I want to hear your opinion and your thoughts on those names, as well as some you may not have thought about. So we want to talk about it all right here on Chicago Cubs Central, family. I don't want you guys to miss a single solitary second of it. So please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any of these hot topics as we are talking about them. Now, with that being said, like I told you guys in the beginning, the winter meetings are up on us. The winter meetings are here. And the Chicago Cubs, along with all different types of reporters, all type of insiders, along with all different types of executives for each of the MLB teams, have arrived in Orlando for deals to be done. Now, what does that mean? That means that the Chicago Cubs, that's right, the Chicago Cubs are also in Orlando. Jed Hoyer, Carter Hawkins, and probably Tom Ricketts are all in Chicago. In Orlando, waiting for the meetings to begin. Again, the preliminaries, usually on Sundays, are the announcement of the Hall of Fame, which there is only one person that has made it into the Hall of Fame this year. Congratulations to him. The next time anybody like Barry Bonds or Roger Clemens or anybody like that will be eligible will be 2031. So congratulations, kudos to that. He's a slugger from the San Francisco Giants. He is a Hall of Famer. Kudos to him for making it into the Hall of Fame. The Baseball Hall of Fame is absolutely the hardest Hall of Fame to make it into in all of Major League sports. So with that being said, we are looking right now at what the Chicago Cubs need, and we understand that there is a long laundry list of things the Chicago Cubs need as we begin this winter meetings. And why the winter meetings important? I think that's kind of where I want to start. So the winter meetings are important because even if deals aren't done here, even if trades aren't finished here, even if they aren't finished here, they're started here. So a lot of trades, a lot of deals, the groundwork, the blueprints for these deals are made during these winter meetings. Now, granted, there have been phone calls already made. We already know what kind of players are out there on the market for trades. We also know the free agent market and who out there is looking to get signed and needs to get signed. And meetings have even begun. There's a note earlier on a little bit ago that Framber Valdez met with not only the Orioles, but also the Mets and a third team so that he can kind of see where his market is set and being set and what type of deals he wants to be done. So again, guys, the winter meetings are already underway. Deals are already starting. The framework for deals and things like that are already underway. Teams are looking to see who they can get. Now, we had ourselves a little boo-boo over the weekend where Mr. Bob Nightingale got a little ahead of himself and said that the Chicago Cubs and Zach Gallen were in agreement on a multi-year deal, tweeted that out, broke Cubs Twitter, and everybody lost their ever-loving minds. And like I said, I mean, me, myself, I'm thankful on this one because a lot of times when these deals break, when news breaks on this stuff, you guys know the slogan and the motto over here on any Chicago or Chi-Town Sports Central channel. When news break, we break. So like I said, so we try to drop every single time news drops, but I'm thankful on this one I was out and about and not able to drop the news because you would have looked like a damn fool. Thanks to Bob Nightingale dropping the fact that the Chicago Cubs and Zach Gallen were in agreement on a deal, multi-year deal, and he was coming to the Chicago Cubs to be our starting pitcher. When Jeff Passan came behind him and announced, like, hey, there is no deal imminent between these two, and Zach Gallen is not close to a deal with any team right now. So, again, like I said, these are things that the Chicago Cubs have to deal with. Like I said, with people like Bob Nightingale trying to break news new. So I can promise you this week, if news breaks, you will not. If news breaks and once it's confirmed is when we will talk about it, which is kind of why I'm taking the mode this time for the winter meetings of doing a video late at night. Usually, like I said, some deals get announced at night, but not a lot. A lot of stuff gets announced during the day once it's finished. And you could see a cluster of deals done towards the latter part of the week. I'm hoping it's not like last year's winter meetings where the Chicago Cubs really didn't do a whole lot of great deal, but you did hear that the framework for the Kyle Tucker trade was actually being worked out during the winter meetings. But yeah, the Chicago Cubs need y'all. Chicago Cubs need to add arms. That's right, plural arms to the bullpen. The Chicago Cubs need to add a starting pitcher. The Chicago Cubs need to add somebody that can be at the front half of the rotation, and they need to add another late inning type of pitcher also. And the Cubs probably need to add at least one quality bench bat with some versatility on the infield. And the Cubs will probably like to be able to add a little offense to offset the loss of Kyle Tucker. Now, again, one thing we've talked about, y'all, and we have been very adamant about it on this channel is I'm not coming to you guys unless there is some fire to the smoke that I'm seeing or I'm hearing out there when I got my nose to the streets. So one thing that is out there, y'all, is this Alex Bregman thing. And I have heard from sources that are MLB insiders that this Alex Bregman thing is picking up some steam. So this could very well end up being something that the Chicago Cubs actually are trying to go after. This Alex Bregman news continuously keeps coming up, and the Chicago Cubs continuously keep getting linked to Alex Bregman. So that's something to be watching out for during these winter meetings. Another thing to be watching out for during these winter meetings, the Eugenio Suarez deal. We keep hearing about Eugenio Suarez and the Chicago Cubs. They've recently been linked back to a deal with each other. So this absolutely could be something that continues to come up. Um, Again, the Zach Gallen deal isn't something that is a pie in the sky either. That deal has been talked about. But like I said, it's an opportunity for the Chicago Cubs to better their roster, to better their team, and this is the best way to do so. So again, I still believe the Chicago Cubs are going to do most of their damage through trade, not necessarily through free agency. But again, I've been wrong before about the Cubs, and I could be wrong again. We could very well see them go out there and do what they have to do and get players to help make this team better. I also saw that the Chicago Cubs also might be interested in the third baseman. So, I'm sorry, in the first baseman, the Japanese first baseman slash third baseman that could potentially also be a part of this team. So the Chicago Cubs have a lot going on, and it's up to us, y'all, to figure out what's real and what's not real. So, like I said, there's also rumors of Kyle Schwarber. The Pirates apparently offered Kyle Schwarber $100 million deal. So like I said, we'll see if they actually end up taking that deal. We'll be very, very interested to see if Kyle Schwarber ends up taking that deal. Could happen, could also not happen. We'll just have to see what happens, man. But it's a lot going on, a lot of deals going on, a lot of pieces, a lot of things intertwining. Welcome to the winter meetings, y'all, and welcome to the craziness. This episode is basically just a welcome into that. And I can't wait to see what happens. And you already know, as soon as things happen, we will be right here, Johnny on the spot, to talk about it right here on Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. Huge deals in the making. We'll see what happens, y'all. But make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate y'all. Until next time. Also, let me know. Let me know in the comment section below. Who do you want to see the Chicago Cubs sign? Who do you want to see the Chicago Cubs sign in this free agency? We'll see what they do. I'm excited. We'll talk about it, and we'll highlight it. Appreciate y'all. Until next time, go Cubs, go.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the number one spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.